2 hours ago, Gabe Bradner, Austin Davis led the Duke seniors over along the West Campus into Wallace Wade Stadium. And moments ago, they were honored on the field as part of a departing senior class that's revitalized the Blue Devil program. As your local Ford dealer presents ACC football. We're in the Coastal Division in Week 12. David Cutcliffe's Blue Devils take the field. They need 2 wins for bowl eligibility. Meanwhile, Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech, 5-4. They want to finish with a 5-3 ACC worksheet and bowl eligibility with a victory today. And with James Bates, West Durham, we welcome you upstairs. Rebecca Capel joins us in just a moment. Paul Johnson's offense has been known for its work on the ground. Last Saturday in Atlanta, they became the Air Jackets, didn't they?
They certainly did. Sometimes the snow comes down in June, and sometimes Paul Johnson does put it up there. They only threw it 8 times in Atlanta last Saturday in the big win over one of the best defenses, too, in the nation in Virginia Tech. And Brad Stewart, well, he gets his first touchdown of his career in the third quarter, a 60-yarder. And here's what I mean, the snow coming down in June. It's Ricky June, 80 yards. There's the game winner. And Taquan Marshall, the leader. He started this season just showing what he can do on the ground and through the air. And you know what? In this matchup last year, and it's really been back and forth. It's been a shootout each year. Who was it? Justin Thomas.
That's right.
459 combined yards. He ran the show. Georgia Tech hoping that their quarterback can do it today.
Well, in a Duke defense, Jim Knowles, their coordinator, has done a nice job corralling the Jackets as of late, but they miss a critical piece today in linebacker Ben Humphries.
Yeah, those 2 linebackers are so much fun to watch. They really feed off of one another. Ben Humphries got hurt in the Army game. He will not go today, so it'll be up to his partner in crime there, 44. Giles Harris, the leading tackler on this team with 94. But as we all know, when you go against an offensive machine that's clicking right now like Georgia Tech, it takes a whole lot of pieces. And it takes the young guys stepping up and trying to make these seniors, 21 of them, make it a happy day their last time here at Wallace Wade.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that storyline. But back at the top of the show here, Rebecca, is this bowl eligibility looming out there? 2 wins for the Blue Devils today and next Saturday in Winston-Salem. Georgia Tech needs 1.
That's right, Wes. Yeah, the stakes couldn't be higher for both of these teams here this afternoon. Just 2 games left in the regular season. Everyone trying to get to that 6th win and get to a bowl game, something the Blue Devils were not able to do last season. Yellow Jackets, you mentioned, just 1 win away, but with 7th-ranked Georgia on their schedule next week, a win here today in Durham is crucial. For Duke, truly is do or die. Blue Devils, 4 wins, 2 games left. This is a must-win if they want any chance of getting to a bowl game. So how fitting that today is senior day. So much on the line for Duke's 21 seniors, including cornerback Brian Fields. That said, the same goes for Georgia Tech seniors like Keyshawn Freeman. He's excited to be out here this afternoon. Everyone, both teams, they know how important today's game is here this afternoon, Wes.
All right, Rebecca, thanks very much. The Blue Devils won the toss. They have elected to defer. And so we will get to see Paul Johnson's offense first here today against the Blue Devil defense coordinated by Jim Knowles that has done a good job of hemming them up. And James, you mentioned last year we had that ball game and it was a tight fit through most and then broken open in the 4th quarter by the Jackets.
38-35. The final, really the last few years have been shootouts.
Here's the kick by Jack Driggers. And there will be no return for the Yellow Jackets, Amari Jarrett, who's back to take the kicks today. And here is Kervonte Benson. And James, we're talking about the number 4 rusher in the ACC, 27th nationally.
And just a perfect fit for this offense. A track star in high school, and he really is the home run hitter on the ground anyway for this Georgia Tech attack. 5'9", 210 pounds. Just like a bowling ball, and refuses to go down, does not lose yardage. He's always falling forward. Just what you want in the back in this offense.
Slot set on 1st down. They'll throw for June. Ricky makes the catch right at the 30-yard line. So Taquan Marshall, who hit the 2 deep balls last week, comes out and throws for 2 yards to Ricky June. And for Taquan Marshall. 40% completion, just about 810 yards on the season.
Threw it 8 times last week, and in typical Paul Johnson fashion, he said, you know what, he threw 3 touchdowns last week, 2 to Yellow Jackets and 1 to a Hokie. Threw an interception. You know, and it really says a lot about the performance by that defense of Georgia Tech. 7 of those points were scored on an interception return by Virginia Tech. Really a dominant football game for the guys from Atlanta.
2nd down and 8. Long count. Here's the counter with Marshall. And Taquan will lower the shoulder and drive it to the 35 before Duke gets Giles Harris, who we spoke of at the top, along with Dylan Singleton on the stop.
You know, and watching Giles Harris there, 44, it's interesting. He didn't get cut, which is number 1 in this game. You can't make plays on the field. He didn't get cut, but he spent so much time with guys at his feet. He's in on the tackle, but the damage is done. The chains are moving, and that's a nice play to get a fresh set of downs here for the Yellow Jackets.
So 1st and 10 for Georgia Tech on their 3rd snap of this opening drive of the ball game here today in Durham. Toss play, and this is Nathan Cottrell, who had a big run last week against Virginia Tech, and Giles Harris will finish him off. Mark Gilbert did a great job playing it to the boundary, or to the wide side of the field from the field corner spot.
Well, here goes the sophomore backer. Look at the eyes, the concentration, sees the flow, and you see the little tug on the jersey. You see the tug on the jersey from the defensive lineman to keep them off of those backers. When you're doing your job against this offense, especially up front, you may not be credited with the tackle, you may not be credited with any of them, but if you can chip them, if you can get some friction on those guys that are trying to get to the next level and get those cuts in, you just let those backers run free, and that's what they did for 44 there.
Here comes Marshall again, powering it to the open side of the field. He'll cut across, 1st down to the 46, and maybe a step more before Alonzo Saxton. One of those 3 safeties. Although James and Duke is a conventional 4-2-5 defensive team. They go 4-3, though, when they see an option team like Army last week or Georgia Tech today. Right.
Well, Army had an outstanding day. Army's having a good season. We had that game here a couple years ago in a monsoon. And, you know, and the main thing right here is just watching this guy running free on that last time he did get cut, Joe Giles Harris.
And that is Benson for just a couple of yards. Knocked down by this redshirt senior Mike Ramsey, having outstanding final campaign. Big 99 has got 4.5 sacks, 8.5 tackles behind the line, making his 27th career start today. Had 8 tackles last week in the loss at Army. So they 2nd down and 8 now at the 42. Opening drive of the game for the Jackets here in Durham. And this is Benson. Side steps and close to another 1st down. Nice run by Cravante Benson, and Marquise Waters now makes the stop. He is the 3rd linebacker, if you will, today, James. He'll join Kobe Kwanzaa and Joe Giles Harris in that 4-3 look Duke gives Georgia Tech.
Right, but it's a little too late. Bringing up a 3rd down and very short. You really win 1st down with a 2-yard gain. Good job getting upfield, the double team on Giles Harris there, and it's really an offensive line that is starting to gel and has improved now, especially here the 2nd half of the season, every week playing together.
Blue Devils loaded up. Here's the toss. This is Benson, and he'll have the 1st down. So the V-back goes wide. Cravante Benson. Brian Fields was over there, redshirt senior from Charlotte. 9 plays in. Georgia Tech 1st and 10 at Duke's 33.
You know, you mentioned Hayes, and boy, do they miss the option killer, Jeremy Cash.
Yeah.
Remember Cash? I mean, and it was from the outside. A lot of times you talk penetration. And go back to the Clemson game. There was a lot of penetration to really disrupt this offense, but it was Cash that just lived in the backfield and could kind of cheat. There you go. There's some penetration.
Yep. And that time, Trey Hornbuckle, the defensive end on the right side, 59, blows up the play.
Well, Kwanzaa in there as well. And Kwanzaa filling in for Ben Humphries at that middle linebacker spot. He led the team with 13 tackles against Army. There's the penetration, and they've got to find a way to get through those gaps and disrupt everything. And until that play, Georgia Tech had their way, winning the battles up front.
And that time, Kwanzaa fights through again. The sophomore Manchester Connecticut's made back-to-back stops for the Blue Devils here. So now 3rd and long. Georgia Tech's had 2 negative plays.
And there you see just knifing in immediately. Good play by the sophomore. And so finally, Jim Knowles' defense, they come out, and Georgia Tech rolling on them a little bit, but back-to-back plays thanks to the penetration. And remember, 4-down territory, perhaps right here for Georgia Tech, too.
Jackets tighten the formation. Marshall wants to throw. Wide open is Searcy. Caught it, held on. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. Taquan Marshall took a shot on the back end, but Quay Searcy hauls in a 35-yard score.
Marshall, you see, a little tough time getting off. He really got rocked and driven into the turf. Not a dirty hit, not too late, but the ball seemed to hang forever, and a great job to hang on to it. Fantastic by Searcy. The concentration, knowing that he was going to take a lick once he caught the football. How about the big plays through the air, the explosives by Georgia Tech? There was a whole lot of that from JT last year in this matchup.
Yep. And the point after is good. And we're underway in Durham. Taquan Marshall, 2 touchdown passes last week. Starts this 12th Saturday of the season with his 9th scoring throw of the year.
Oh, very good day for football as we welcome you back here. Visitor, stop, Wes, leave me alone. Quit picking on me.
Short kick, here's Sean Wilson off the 13-yard line, and Wilson powers his way back across the 30. Pretty good starting spot for Daniel Jones now. Here's Sean Wilson running free. Wilson, a home run hitter for David Cutcliffe into Georgia Tech territory on the first play from scrimmage.
Well, that is, we haven't seen them yet, but that's one of my 4 keys to the game. Explosive plays. Guys like Sean Wilson, the senior. See, he can get electric. And look at the guys blocking and hustling down the field for him. There has been a big-time lack of explosives for this offense. They got right what they needed first play from scrimmage.
So a 39-yard run, and then Ramming couldn't catch up with the offer from Jones, and quickly 2nd and 10. And time for today's 4 keys, James.
All right, for Georgia Tech, an education in special teams, because they have really been bad. They've struggled mightily against Virginia Tech. They were awful. And in the Virginia game that we had a couple weeks ago, they could have really buried the Cavaliers, but special teams allowed them to get back in it. It could be a free play here.
2nd and 10, Jones. And the catch made, that's on the far side, I believe. Britton Brown hauling it in at the 26. It'll be 3rd down there.
Well, and our hearty star to watch, it kind of ties in with our keys to the game, and go big or go home, meaning big-time plays. And this guy, Sean Wilson, we saw his debut as a freshman against Kansas a few years ago when he really came on the scene. But showing you right there in that package in our Hardy Star to Watch highlights that he can do it not only on the ground, through the air, special teams as well. We saw the nice return to set up this drive.
Jones on 3rd down, wants to throw. Flush from the pocket, he'll turn it upfield. Daniel Jones took a big shot. Britton Brown picked it up on the carom, and Duke will have the first down. Boy, Jones took a shot, lost the handle on it, and then Brown, Johnny on the spot here, James.
Wow, he does a good job. He's been sacked too much here this season, and he can do some damage on the ground with his legs, and it's a nice lick. The hat right on the ball to pop it free, and fortunately for the Blue Devils, they fall on it, get the ball back, and now they're still driving on this opening series here.
Victor Alexander was the Georgia Tech player who knocked it loose, but Brown recovers, and now TJ Ramming. And he's down to the 5, close to a 1st and goal scenario for the Blue Devils.
Some of these plays take a long time to develop, and that time Jonathan Lloyd doing a good job down here in the CPI Security red zone. And there's a look at the numbers this season for the Duke Blue Devils. But Jonathan Lloyd put his defensive back flat on his back to help get some extra yardage there for Ramming around the edge.
In the backfield is Koppenhaver, the tight end, and here's Jones just going to keep it on the read option, and still may be short of the necessary mark for the first down. Well, it's been quite a sophomore redshirt campaign for Daniel Jones. High expectations, James, but it's been a lot of up and down, unfortunately, for the redshirt sophomore. making his 23rd career start here today.
Yeah, and it's been a combination. It's been Daniel, but it's also been receivers at times not able to get open for him. An offensive line that hasn't given him the proper protection. I mean, it's an offense that's really due to have a hot one, a quarterback that's due to kind of lead that charge.
Jones will keep here and tripped up about the 2. It'll be 1st and goal for Duke, though.
He's such a good runner, and he actually ran against Army. They ran him, I think, 19 times it was, more than they have. And it just kind of shows you, as you watch up here through the lens of a former linebacker, you watch those fakes to the jet sweeps that can hurt you so bad, and you got to get out right now and get that angle. But then you also, you can't get pulled away because you got a quarterback. If he keeps it, he could be coming right at you in a hurry.
2-type formation. Hand it to Sean Wilson, and Georgia Tech stops him at the 1. So it'll be 2nd down and goal. Sean Wilson comes in, 12th in the ACC, just better than 63 yards a game. 10th in rushing yardage, 632 coming in with 5 scores. There you see where his biggest impact in those kick returns, and then the 6 scoring runs of 50 yards or more. 10 in his career. 9th play of the drive. They pitch it to Wilson. He lost the handle on it, and Jones will dive back on it at the 12, and Duke still has possession.
Here's another example of how that jet sweep can get guys' eyes where the offense wants them to be and where the defensive coordinator doesn't want them to be. Georgia Tech was going to snuff this play out, and they were going to shut it down. They almost got the football. So dodging 2 big-time Georgia Tech bullets on this opening drive. Ball on the ground twice, but Blue Devils able to fall on it twice as well.
Jones to the gun. Tight end, 3 receivers. 3rd down and goal. He'll throw. Incomplete. Step Durham had him. The ball hit him right in the number, it looked like. And could not pull away the interception. Yep, I think that's the case, the way he reacted.
Oh, absolutely. Good coverage, and does a good job of walling it off, still having a feel on that body, making sure he doesn't get any separation. I'm not sure what a guy like Daniel Jones, what he's thinking there. He just threw the ball and kind of blindly when it's, with coverage like that, you think maybe a flag, little touch on it perhaps, but just throw it right at the defender. At least they get 3 out of it. Quite an adventure there, Wes, on that drive.
Absolutely. 30-yard field goal, Austin Parker puts the Blue Devils on the board. Back to Durham after this. End over end kick. And Amari Jarrett returning the kicks today for Georgia Tech. And out across the 20 goes Jarrett. First down give is Gervonta Benson, and big Mike Ramsey wraps him up, but Benson gets almost 7 on first down.
And Wes, look at the amount of yards that he gets after big 99. Watch Ramsey gets on him here. And he keeps those legs churning, low to the ground, gets about 4 or 5 more. That's what I was talking about, like always going forward, refusing to go down. And look, down the field, his guys continue to block. That's how you get those explosive plays, when you have receivers blocking down the field. If he breaks that, he's gone.
With counter, and here is Benson again. First down and more. 35 and out toward the 37.5 before Ramsey again makes the stop. Well, James, we've talked about this before. If the B-back and quarterback get the dive situation going, that opens up all the valves on their perimeter.
Well, that's the second half of it. First things first, the guys up front have to win their battles, and that's being done right now. It's been a nice start for the big bodies up front here for Paul Johnson's offense. Remember Duke to slow down that last series anyway, started getting some penetration.
Here's the pitch, and this is J.J. Green. Down the near sideline, pulled out of bounds, and that's Waters taking him out at the Blue Devil 33.
This is what I like about Georgia Tech football. Look, the star of the show last weekend, right? There, boom. That's Ricky June. 80-yard touchdown catch. Big play at home to beat Virginia Tech. He's blocking down the field so his teammate can spring a big one. There's no selfishness. You can't be selfish. You can't be a me guy, especially out there on the edge and playing this offense. And that sets it up. That sets up those big pass plays, too, when you've been blocking on them all day and they're tired of it.
Benson on the dive before Giles Harris makes the play. So a 25-yard run by Marshall. A couple more now from Gervonta Benson. Georgia Tech already toward 120 yards of rushing here in their first 2 possessions.
This is a defense that already, you know, here we have 20 seconds left in the first quarter, and I mean they have really been out there quite a bit, and I mean it's been smash mouth from that offensive line firing off. The entire first quarter's been a rough one for this D.
Here's Marshall going to the wide side, and he'll tuck it at the 10 and get first and goal at the 5. But the Jackets will have first and goal around the 5-yard line. Senior day in Durham. Taquan Marshall dialed Quay Searcy from 35 yards out. Georgia Tech with a 4-point lead. Well, you see Georgia Tech almost a 6-minute advantage in time of possession. Double the number of the plays, James, and the rushing yards pop off the page. But during the quarter break here, apparently they heard you were here, Batesy.
Oh, shoot, no. They would have offered me some if they would have known how much I like that ice cream. Look at this gentleman right here won it, and they were playing Weird Al Yankovic, Eat It, his spinoff of Michael Jackson's Beat It. You haven't even touched your tuna casserole? Great. Kind of reminded me of the Stand By Me scene when they eat the pies. What a first quarter on the ground for the Yellow Jackets and the big touchdown through the air.
Benson on first and goal picks up 2 to the 3. Joe Giles Harris. The stop, and we check with Rebecca King.
Well, Wes, we are dealing with a little weather here. It's not raining. It's not cold, but we're dealing with some wind here this afternoon. According to local weather reports, gusts between 15 and 24 miles per hour. So we'll see how the players can handle that. But I talked to Paul Johnson before the game and said, hey, at least it's not raining, which is something they've had to deal with quite a bit on the road this season, guys.
Jackets have not lost.
Yeah.
They've only lost when it rains.
In that North Myrtle Beach weather, it's, you know, whatever it is, just don't bring the rain. Paul Johnson doesn't want it. I know Rebecca doesn't want it either.
Here's the toss, wide side, and this is Green. Got a nice block from Lynch for the touchdown.
Well, let me put that parrot on my shoulder up here. Ah, can't make plays on the ground. And it's going to be Lynch. There you see him around the corner. Lynch getting the defensive back down on the ground. Absolutely nothing he can do, and it's a stroll into the end zone for Green. And a nice job on the perimeter, just owning it right now and owning the interior as well, really on the ground. Just a dominant performance here to start this one against Duke.
10 plays, 79 yards, and 435, James. And the point after is good. Georgia Tech's run 22 plays on offense and has 2 touchdowns. By the way, I got my man Mike DeGeorge, former Georgia Tech football assistant SID, then went to Kennesaw State where he was in charge of a lot of things, helped Brian Bohannon launch football, and now he works at Duke.
I know, I saw him with the Duke gear on, and I was like, oh, what in the world? I thought I knew that guy.
Here's the kick, and Sean Wilson. I beg your pardon, not Wilson. Coming on the return for Duke. It's Deion Jackson. It was fun to watch the Blue Devils last night. Jones out on the flat, and this is Chambers trying to get around the edge, and he got pushed out by Lance Austin.
Very important for Duke to put it together and put a nice drive together. Give their defense a chance to go over a few things, figure out how they're going to slow down that Georgia Tech machine that's rolling right now, and if nothing else, just give them a breather. Been out on the field, as you saw, the time of possession, over 10 minutes there in the first quarter.
Jones. Here's Wilson sliding through. Britton Brown sliding through again, and a big run for the young running back, redshirt freshman from Canton, Georgia, and A.J. Gray, who missed the Virginia game and came back last week, makes the stop.
Good job. Good initial movement. Some cuts of their own. Duke can play at that game, says the Duke offensive line. And then Duke can play at the game of blocking on the perimeter as well. Good job. Full effort by the offense there.
Duke trying to get it rolling. Here's Brown breaking free again. Durham tried to angle it. Cannot. Britton Brown inside the 20, and Duke's got a red zone chance. Keyshawn Freeman finally downfield.
Yeah, I hate to see that. There goes McDuffie.
27-yard run. Brown starting to kick it into overdrive here. That time a dive play, and Gray, you see him, number 5, pull him down after the wall got built by Georgia Tech. Oh, it's that right leg for Jeremy McDuffie.
McDuffie moved from cornerback spot in that safety position. Hopefully he's okay.
Wilson banged into his own guy. It looked like Helm, the tight end, was pulling James, and Wilson ran right into him.
Well, we talked about what penetration can do, and however you get it, you'll take it. There you see Helm, and it's just like penetration. You slow down the momentum, back going full head of steam. He gets knocked off course. It's just an easy play for Freeman, who had the nice fake punt last week. So here's a 3rd down and long now after they were rolling.
Jones wants to throw. Out in the flat is Wilson. Jackets trying to get there. Wilson scores. Boy, they did a good job. Evan Lyle, the tackle. Sean Wilson's touchdown on the catch is his 2nd of the year, an 11-yard play from Daniel Jones.
With the Georgia Tech touchdown out on the perimeter, we saw the cut by Lynch. This time it's big Evan Lyle. Watch him get up and go. Great job getting downfield to spring it. Wilson into the end zone, and there's his giddy-up dance. It's going to cost him 15 yards. Season day or not, can't hurt your team like that and give them the short field. But 15 yards, they'll spot him here on the kickoff.
Point after is good. And an important score for the Blue Devils. They cut it down to 4. Georgia Tech will get the ball back when we continue from Wallace Wade Stadium.
Unsportsmanlike.
Well, look inside Cameron Indoor Stadium.
If anybody finds my luchador mask, could you please mail it to?
Really? Are you serious?
No way I'd let that thing go.
I didn't think so. Blue Devils at home Monday night against Furman. We got some ACC basketball on your regional sports network tomorrow from Virginia, James. Short kick here. Jarrett looking for a seam, and he'll get to the 40. Look around. Jordan Hayes is Loganville. He's in their lineup today. Here's Marshall, and he'll pitch, and this is Clinton Lynch into Duke territory. Finally knocked down by Dylan Singleton, another Gwinnett County guy. Played for Andy Dyer at Deculum. All right, Archer, I should say.
And 2 guys end up on the quarterback. Marshall is going to draw 2 defenders. Boom. On him, nobody there for the pitch man. The good cut block on the outside there on Saxton, and it's off to the races. Another big play on the ground. Well, and here you go. 1 play on the ground after remember the 15-yard penalty. That's why a short kick looked even shorter, and outstanding field position to start. And they've had their way as it is, and so you give them a little spot. And still coming at it.
Benson squeezes through for a couple of yards on the dive to the 36.
Gets the assignment.
Looked like Hornbuckle walked up and knifing through the penetration in the chase. Hornbuckle in there, and there's Kwanzaa, who's really been good filling in for Humphreys. There's the future at backer alongside a couple guys that still have some time, and Joe Giles Harris and Ben Humphreys.
There's Trey Hornbuckle, sophomore from Murray, Kentucky. Base set for Georgia Tech now in 2nd and 8. And Benson runs right into 4 white helmets, headed by Joe Giles Harris. Interesting to hear Jim Knowles talk about Joe Giles Harris. Production is not the question, as James alluded to at the top. Closing in on 100 tackles. He's probably close to it now. Yep. But he's not the verbal, vocal guy that Humphreys is, who's the, Newport Beach, California guy. And it's out of Joe's character to have to do that, James.
But he's got to. Somebody's got to step up and communicate. They're different roles on the team. Sometimes you have to fill in. 3rd down and medium now here for this offense.
Marshall wants to throw, put it out in space, and got intercepted. Batted away, Dimukeji with Marshall trying to pull him down. Victor Dimukeji, highly touted freshman from Baltimore, picks off the Marshall pass.
And that stirred up the Hornets' nest here on the near sidelines. This Duke bench popping around. They'd had some success on the ground offensively, hadn't done a whole lot defensively. Great concentration. Get those hands up, the mirror technique if you're not going to get to that quarterback. And look at the determination trying to get it all the way to the house. What a big-time play. And you kind of get the feeling in this game. It was turnovers that really got Duke back into the game in the loss last year. 2 big Georgia Tech turnovers in the second half. And the back and forth that we were starting to feel. And Sean Wilson both. Just patience and vision. That last play, not this one here, but 2 plays ago. You know, just have some patience. Don't run yourself up there into a log jam and get yourself in trouble. Have some patience and also the vision to see it. And then you got to finish it off, of course, with the athleticism to make that cut, put your foot in the ground, and go get some yardage.
No huddle operation here for Daniel Jones on second down. Play fake. Jones going to throw and dumped it to Noah Gray, his tight end. And Antonio Simmons was right there, but not much, if any, on the play. So it'll be 3rd down and 6. Boy, we got a fast-moving game and a lot of action so far here at Wallace Wade Stadium today.
Well, last year in the 38-35 Georgia Tech win, there was a combined, they almost went up 1,200 yards combined, these 2 offenses. Good play by Simmons on that last play to put that pressure right on Jones after the fake. No hesitation, just playing his assignment, going after the quarterback.
Brown stays in the backfield with Jones. This is 3rd down now. Snap a little low. Jones recovers, sends it to the end zone beyond the reach of Koppenhaver, the tight end, who's got 5 career touchdown catches, the 12th most by a tight end in Blue Devil history. Jalen Johnson was there defending.
Well, and some success with the tight ends in this game a year ago in Atlanta. Here, good coverage. And forced to put it in the spot where he's hoping only his guy can get it, but unfortunately a little bit too hard, so forced to go for their 2nd field goal here of the day.
25-yard try for Parker, who hit earlier from 30 to draw Duke within a point. And the kick is good. 7:48 to go. Blue Devils have scored 10 in a row to draw within a point of Georgia Tech. Well, the 63-year-old head coach of the Blue Devils not happy with his offense only getting 3 there, James. And Daniel Jones threw a fastball to his tight end, and they had to kick the 3.
Wanted 7 in a big way. Had to settle for 3.
Amari Jarrett, a running catch of it at the 10. Jarrett, good step, and out to the 33, and a flag is thrown from about 20 yards away. Here's Marshall, quarterback draw from the slot set. Taquan Marshall is loose. Needs a block. He'll cut back here to the near side and brought down at the 17-yard line by Dylan Singleton. He's gone over 1,000 for the season, James.
That momentum we were just talking about. Here we go, a designed run. He sets them all up, spreads it out, and look at the hustle down the field. Look at Green. Look at Stewart down there. You know, Searcy as well at the very end and showing you in the open field what he can do. And how about this? I mean, you finally get a chance. Hey, we got them in their own territory. 3rd down and 4. We stuff them. We get off the field. They get the big hitter on you.
Here's Benson. Cuts it back on 1st and 10. He'll pick up about 5 there. So Taquan Marshall tops 1,000 yards, and Kervonte Benson closing in on 1,000 of his own rushing yards this year.
Well, and Marshall, he got it going in a big way in the opener. A tough loss to the Tennessee Volunteers. 249 rushing yards in that opening game. 5 rushing touchdowns on the 44 carries.
Approaching 4 minutes to play first half. Here's Marshall on the keeper. Runs into Jerry Howard, his B-back. And got knocked back. Singleton is playing a lot more here, but the injury to McDuffie in the secondary for Jim Knowles, the Duke defensive coordinator. James, we saw Justin Thomas for a couple of years. Now we've seen Taquan Marshall. This is our third look at Georgia Tech. What do you see? What are the differences?
Well, I think Marshall, when he gets out in the open, he's gazelle-like. He's so smooth and such a runner that he can leave guys. Justin Thomas was good in a phone booth, could make him miss. I just like the fight in Marshall as well. Not that JT wasn't a fighter as Marshall goes forward for a first down, but how many times have we seen him, you know, in the nitty-gritty when they have to have him go fight? You know, when he's a slender guy. It's not like he's a great big bruiser type like an Eric Dungy, but he fights like he's the biggest guy out there. He's got so much fight, and he's such a great leader.
Well, you mentioned it. The follow play right there got him the first down. And he tends to be more, but he doesn't mind the contact between the tackles.
Not one bit. No sacks, by the way, in that win over Virginia Tech last week. And sacks had started to become an issue, sometimes because trying to play comeback late.
Try to go straight ahead with Jerry Howard. Paul Johnson said this week, want more reps for the freshman from Rock Hill. Serenord, who had been shaken up earlier, made the play for Duke, 92. And Paul Johnson's team with a 1-point edge and trying to take advantage of the big run by Taquan Marshall, James.
Well, can Jim Knowles' defense, can they shut him down, force him to hold him to 3, and keep him out of the end zone perhaps, even knowing Paul Johnson be a big victory here right before halftime.
2nd and goal, toss play for Cottrell. Trying to get to the edge and a big-time play, and that's Waters. Told you the freshman would be asked to do a lot today, and Marquise Waters handled it well there.
Timeout, Duke. That's their first timeout.
Boy, Waters making up his mind. He's going to go get it. Here he is lined up right here. You can't dilly-dally. You see it. You see that hole. Go make it. Boom.
30 seconds.
And that's it. Hey, Cottrell, he can turn it up. He can turn that corner as good as any of them.
You see the 3rd down number. The Jackets 5 of 6.
Well, just as Ted Roof's defense got out there after the turnover and held Duke to a field goal, Jim Knowles' Duke defense trying to do the same right here. That'd look a lot better going into the halftime locker room if they hold them to 3 right here.
Extra tackle on the left side. Here comes Marshall, load option. Taquan will keep it and dive for the end zone and the Georgia Tech touchdown. Eight-yard run on 3rd and goal for Taquan Marshall.
Well, 1-2 is one thing, but the other thing is just numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the bodies. The guys with the gold helmets out there on the edge. There are more guys with the gold helmets than there are guys with white helmets. And then you've got a quarterback that's going to plow his way in there. Nice play call and a nice touchdown. Big touchdown there as Duke will receive the kickoff to open the second half. Still 2:09 left. And
point got blocked. Dimukeji back at it again, trying to get down the near sideline. And he'll pitch it, and big Shamir Devine took the pitch from Dimukeji. No 2-point play. You want to talk about 260, picking up the block.
With 2 minutes and 9 seconds
and then 3 in a bundle.
Wow.
Intercepted it. I give Big Shamir credit for making the athletic move down the field, James.
Well, and it was even had that, what was an attempt at a lateral. It went forward, and again, the special teams, the frustration. Paul Johnson upset with his guys after the block. So Duke hanging in there, and they've got some time to see what kind of 2-minute offense they got. Big block, though. Would have been 8-point spread for Georgia Tech. Now just 7.
Here's Sean Wilson on the return. Wilson's very dangerous. He'll ease out of bounds at the 27. Now remember, Duke has they have 2 timeouts remaining for Daniel Jones. And Britton Brown and Lance Austin had him wrapped up, but Brown works his way out toward the 45-yard line.
All right, let's see. You talk about a big boost, big shot in the arm for this Duke football team. If their leader at quarterback, Daniel Jones, can conduct a 2-minute drive to go put some points on the board.
Middle of the field, juggled, ramming caught it on his own deflection and then took a big lick.
Quickly, here's the sense of urgency right over the ball. And a helmet come off for Georgia Tech, a new player in.
Here's Mitchell, and he was trying to track down Britton Brown, who could not hang on to the pass on the flat, so the clock stops with 58 seconds left. Now, remember, Duke gets the ball to start half two here, James, as well.
Right, but all they're worried about right now is these last 58 seconds. You imagine, I mean, it really seems like the upper hand has been all Georgia Tech here this first half. You talk about a punch to the gut. If they can tie it up, take it into the halftime locker room, knot it up, be huge.
Jones from the pocket, flushed out, he'll keep it. He can run, cuts back at the 15 and tackled at the 11. Duke out of timeouts. Clock will stop to move the chains with 48 seconds left. Victor Alexander made the play for Georgia Tech. 17-yard run for Jones.
Well, I mean, it seems like everybody in football be able to do it, but just this Duke team, you can tell it's a well-coached unit over the football, spiking it to kill time. And here's what a quarterback with the wheels of Daniel Jones can do to you. You got him covered down the field. Let me tuck it and go get what I can, like we saw on that 3rd down and 18. So here brings a 2nd down and 10, and they can get a 1st down inside the 1, but only 46 seconds remain now in the first half.
Brown stays in the game, tight end and 3 receivers for Jones. Middle of the field and broken up incomplete, intended for Aaron Young, and A.J. Gray will be flagged.
Pass interference. Defense, number 8. By rule, the ball will be spotted at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal.
Well, A.J. Gray, just a big physical safety, just too early. A good break on the ball, but the contact is there, so here you go.
Brown diving and has to score. So Britton Brown, the touchdown. His 5th of the year with 26 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, he took the leap, not even sure he needed to. It was a good job by his offensive lineman up front. First punch to that defensive line and clearing the way. How about this? With that blocked extra point now, this extra point ties it up.
And the try is away from Parker and good. Locked up at 20 now on the Brown touchdown. Tied at 20 at the break. Wow, fast-moving half of football. And a lot of action both ways. Duke will get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah.
Man. How about big plays, James, both ways, and a lot of them, huh?
Well, and the explosives, that's what they needed here for the Blue Devils. They got some. They gave up a few, too, though. They got to find a way to shut it down, but you knew we were going to have a shootout, and it looks like we've got more of the same in the second half. Here's Rebecca.
Coach, with Duke managing to tie the game just now, what will your message be to your defense in the locker room?
Well, we got to play. Clearly, we got to play a little better on defense, and offensively, you can't miss a turn. You got to be. The turnover really killed us.
Anything adjustment-wise you want to see your offense do in the second half?
Well, I think we're moving the ball pretty well offensively. We just got to continue, and defensively, we got to find a way to get them off the field.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Rebecca, thanks. Thanks to Paul Johnson. Stay tuned. Our Hardee's ACC halftime report from the studio with Katie, Coach Bowden, and Sweet Fleet Stan Norfleet coming up next. Blue Devil coach David Cutcliffe standing by with Rebecca Capel.
Well, Coach, we have an even ball game right now. What's it going to take for you guys to come out here in the second half and finish on top?
We're running the ball well. I think we could produce a few more big plays on offense in the passing game and still run it. Touchdowns instead of field goals. They have 4 plays that produced 135 yards, stopping those big plays. The first score, the quarterback draw play. You know, if we can manage, they're good. They're going to make their yard. If we can manage that, make them snap the ball more times, get maybe one more turnover, and we got a shot at this thing.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, David Cutcliffe visiting with Rebecca. We get ready here for the second half, and The kick by King, and there will be no return.
And they're your first half stats. How about this? 6 of 7, Wes. Georgia Tech on third downs. Not to mention the big plays that David Cutcliffe talked about. And what he's saying there is, hey, don't let them get all these big hitters. Make them work. Yeah, they're going to get theirs, but make them work. So many things have to happen for a successful drive to come together. And one of those, of course, in the favor of Duke would be a nice turnover, but that's not going to happen if you give up these huge plays.
Here's Jones, pitched it, and Mitchell had Sean Wilson briefly, but he stepped out of that and got to the 34, so a gain of 9 on first down. James, this might have been close to being a forward pass here.
Well, I know. I'm not so sure it wasn't. Just watching it on the fly, they're over the ball, so we won't see a replay, but looked like it might have been. Second down and short, though.
Yep. Wilson stays in the game. And he'll get the call around the left side and a run for A.J. Gray to track down. First down to the 47, and Duke's got the ground game going. And true to the coach's comments with Rebecca, 2 running plays for the Blue Devils.
Well, watch him from up here, the sea of blue jerseys. Winning that initial punch, there's a little stiff arm to the grill of the defender. And Sean Wilson, you know, he got flagged the 15 yards for the celebration earlier. He's chippy here on senior day, trying to go out with a win.
That's Wilson in motion. They'll hand him the football. No, Jones will keep it. Got me. And then Desmond Branch made the tackle at the 47 of Georgia Tech. So pick up right of about 6, 2nd and 4. And Duke's got a little tempo to its move here to start the third.
You know, it reminds me of the juice that Wake Forest took into the locker room last week against Syracuse after being behind so big in the first half. But that halftime juice, and see what you can do with it. And right now, Duke's looking pretty good as they open up in the second half.
Sean Wilson the carry. I think that'll be enough for the first down, and it will, to the 43 of Georgia Tech. Duke is not led in this ball game today.
You know, it's funny, Wes, a big deal is made of this option attack and the precision and everybody, all these assignments defensively and how to stop it. But when you watch an offense like David Cutcliffe's here, when you watch, you know, with everything moving, all these parts, it's still very similar to the assignment.
Trying to dial Chris Taylor was Jones. He took a big lick when he cut it loose, and then a Johnny Kerr, 38, who made a big play last week, the game-clinching play against Virginia Tech, was able to stick a hand in and break it up.
Mitchell's got to be careful, little step and then a hit, no flag right there. And boy, Brent Mitchell, glad to have him back there for Georgia Tech. The junior missed a little bit with an injury. He's really kind of starting to get comfortable, and everything's starting to slow down for him a little bit. Big game against Virginia Tech.
Second down 10 for Jones and Duke. Looking to make the throw over the top of Gray. Taylor the catch. Kerr tried to wrap him up, and then Mitchell finishes it off. But Duke's got a first down. Marching are the Blue Devils now to the Georgia Tech 31.
Well, and here's a nice job. They bring the blitz, come off the edge. They don't get it knocked down there. And here's showing you Chris Taylor, the redshirt junior, just one of many guys that when they get the ball in their hands out in space, they can make some things happen, making guys miss, getting some extra yardage.
Jones back across the middle, and Taylor another grab. Picks up 9 yards to the 22. Back-to-back catches for Chris Taylor.
Jones with some time this time. Good job by the offensive line. And how about 82 going up there and plucking it, pulling it down, securing it. And substitutions late there.
Freeman and St. Amour get on the field for the Jackets at the defensive end spot. Second and short. Wilson has the first down. And the senior from Charlotte stopped at the 16. Only a couple throws out of Daniel Jones. So David Cutcliffe kind of took us behind the game plan there, James. Said we want to run the ball. We were having success in the first half, and sure enough, that's the way they're making most of their money here.
Well, and it's not like Georgia Tech wasn't expecting it. In our talk with Ted Roof earlier this week, he expected a whole lot of run from this Duke team.
Here's Jones backing out, flips it to Wilson, got away from Mitchell, and Duke leads. 16-yard touchdown pass. Second of the day from Daniel Jones to Sean Wilson.
Well, what a pretty drive. Just what the doctor ordered for the Blue Devils. Mitchell's going to take the wrong angle on a speedster. The home run hitter, Sean Wilson, just too fast after he catches the ball, and Mitchell's a step behind. Nobody's going to get him. And that was an impressive opening drive here in the second half, and just showing you all the more reason why you're going to have to hold serve, it seems, in this second half, the way we've gone back and forth.
9 plays, 75 yards, 3:02. Jones to Wilson. One more time. 16 yards, and the Blue Devils lead at home.
Wes, he remembers every offensive play of that season. I introduced him not too long ago, and he got up there and talked about that Clemson game like it was yesterday. It just blows me away.
Amari Jarrett just beyond the 20. Marshall coming on Georgia Tech's first possession. Tried to make the keep, and Waters was there to slow him down, and that allowed Hornbuckle to collapse and stop Taquan Marshall for a yard. Marquise Waters has settled in nicely today, James.
Exactly what I was about to say. Feeling pretty comfortable, like he belongs out there, and kind of knowing what they're trying to do to him, and becoming a big part of this defense. And you didn't see too much of that 1 yard gain, no gain, or a negative play for Georgia Tech in the first half. And that's what Coach Cutt means about just making them play more plays. Don't give up the big one.
There's a slot in the counter. Marshall tries to turn it up the field. There's Waters again. Giles Harris, I think, got a hand in. And then Marquise Waters, the stop. Third and long for Georgia Tech. They're 6 of 7 today on third down. Well, you talk about a momentum boost for Duke. You just scored the touchdown to take the lead, and now you got a chance to post your first 3 and out of Georgia Tech today.
Yeah, it shouldn't need to be said. But you know what? Number 16, he's hurt team after team on third down in this situation. You've got to account for him.
Here's Marshall in trouble, going to take the shot to Stewart, and offline incomplete. Into the Duke bench falls the incomplete pass, and the Blue Devils do get the hold.
Wow. You mentioned it, 6 of 7. Only one time they came up empty in the first half on third down. And here, the first opportunity for the defense. Duke, a 3 and out. They get off the field after the offense looks super, marching right down and taking the lead 27-20. That was a good outing there, not only for the offense, defense as well.
First punt by either school. Presley Harvin, 5th best in the ACC. Going to put it on the ground. TJ Ramming will pick it up and step out of bounds inside the 30. That's where the Blue Devils will start. Duke now, touchdown lead at home. Third quarter continues after a 47-yard punt. He'll throw on the first pass, or first play of this, and it's Jonathan Lloyd. And he'll pick up almost 10 out on the perimeter. And Sean Kagawa, I believe. Lawrence Austin and Kagawa both out there for Georgia Tech.
And what you're starting to see here too is when you dedicate more bodies in there when the run's hurting you. You got to help out in the box, and so then you isolate. And even if it's not a big play, you get a chance to get some extra yardage. But it's just single coverage, man-to-man coverage on the outside. You get a little bit of shake like we've seen Chris Taylor a couple times.
Long throw to the backside. Lloyd another catch, and that is Lawrence Austin again, slinging Jonathan Lloyd out of bounds. The redshirt junior from Graham, and a 7-point lead for Duke. Rebecca.
Guys, Lawrence Austin again, and of course we've seen his twin brother out there, number 17. These guys are so competitive with each other. I talked to their parents. His mom said, you know what, when they were babies, they used to compare how much food was on their plate, who had more, how wide their backs are. They'd look in the mirror and compare that. It's just off the charts.
Here is Britton Brown getting it cranked up into Georgia Tech territory. First and 10 for Duke as Gray makes the tackle down at the 28-yard line.
Just having their way, and a good job getting the edge. You see Helm there, the tight end, helping to seal the corner. And here's guys blocking down the field, but also backs making guys miss. Make a guy miss and then carry that other one. Britton Brown running strong right now. Good looking back in the future. We've seen a lot of young faces here for Duke stepping up today, helping out on senior day and showing you the future. Some of these big playmakers offensively, defensively.
Brown's going over 100 yards on this carry. Down to the 21. Pickup of right at 7 or so on first down. And Duke has operated efficiently at tempo here, James, in the second half. And Brown spun away that time, picks up the first down to the 15. He got away from Brandon Adams, and then it was Lawrence Austin that finally corralled him at the 15. And this offensive line is starting to get a little fired up for Zach Roper, their coordinator.
Yeah, they are. Who was it? Big man just throwing his hand up in the air like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And it's because of this. It's because of the ground game. There's no better way to fire up the big man up front, the offensive line, than just start dominating, taking over, and controlling the defensive line.
Jones wants to get it on the perimeter. Brown, a shoe top catch, and inside the 5. First and goal for the Blue Devils. With 7:02 to play here in the third. And Duke right up on the football, ready to ride again.
Well, Coach Roper is feeling it right now. I mean, hitting them inside, then you hit them outside, and Britton Brown showing off his hands there. And again, Taylor and company, guys doing their job outside when they're not getting the rock, they're getting the block.
Wilson back in the ball game. He'll get the handoff, and that time cannot break away from Kagawa.
What else did he say? He being David Cutcliffe to Rebecca at halftime. We cannot settle for field goals. A couple times in the first half, they had to do just that, got down in the red zone and struggled a little bit. And, careful of that ball. You got to cover those points, right? Keep those points covered. And Coach Cut, he's not planning on settling for 3 right here. Second down and goal now. After everything was a positive yardage in a big way.
Going to hand it. Jones will keep it and go nowhere. Boy, fake the handoff to Ramming, and then A.J. Gray was the first jacket to arrive. And all of a sudden, Duke has backed itself up here.
Gosh, and it's, I think it's the wrong read here. As Ramming, you're trying to read that end, it looked like on the jet sweep, unless it was designed for Jones to keep it. So here's your third down and goal now, going backwards after everything had gone forwards on this second drive of the second half.
Pretty big play in the game for both schools, to be honest. Here's Jones looking to throw. Up in the pocket, wide open, and Wilson couldn't hang on.
Wilson's upset, and Jones, and he had some pressure around him, but he didn't need to rush it that much. Just give your guy a chance. There's absolutely nobody out there. Feels the pressure, and just behind him just a little bit.
What did Mark Richt tell us in week 1? Give it to him, right? The old Bobby Bowden line.
He said, Bobby Bowden, you said, just give it to him.
Give it to him.
Give it to him.
Don't throw it to him. Give it to him.
It's kind of like Spurrier's pitching and catching.
25-yard try by Parker. His third field goal of the day is good. So Duke has outscored Georgia Tech 10-0 here in the third. And with 5:17 to play in the quarter, the Blue Devils now with a 10-point lead. Oh, my goodness. Running catch, Jerry Howard to the kick. Howard trying to work back upfield. He'll get to the 25, and that's where Georgia Tech will get started. 10-point lead for the Blue Devils, 5:13 to play. Don't forget we give you Batesy Paints every week. James is gifted artist. Here's Jalen Camp, deep ball downfield. And no flag with Mark Gilbert defending for the Blue Devils. He's Duke's leader in interceptions this year with 4. So Georgia Tech went big game hunting on the throw with Jalen Camp.
Gilbert, good job right there in his hip pocket. Those eyes get big. He snaps that head around. He does a good job, hold on, making sure he doesn't run past. And Gilbert was asking for a flag. He felt like he was getting roughed up a little bit. So a second down and 10 as they try to go for the big hit on first down.
Extra tackle in the formation for Georgia Tech. Here goes Marshall. Option to the wide side. And Taquan can't find any running room there because Serenor. Redshirt junior from Miami. This is a team effort here, though, James.
It is. Look at guys hustling. Look at nobody's getting cut there. You're not cutting me. This, even though it was tied 20-20 at halftime, this bunch from Durham looks like a completely different football team, offensively and defensively.
Big third down, 3rd and 8 for Georgia Tech. Duke scored 10 points to take a 10-point lead here in the 3rd, and Marshall pushes the pocket, wants to throw, takes the shot. Ricky June cannot make the play. And again, Mark Gilbert. He and Fields have been outstanding at the corner this year for Duke. Makes the play.
There's an ISO. Gilbert, good coverage. Little hand fighting. He's going to grab onto the jersey, though, and gets away with it. And I swear sometimes he's got those white gloves on. How many times do you see, had he had those bright blue gloves on that white jersey, he might stand out a little bit more and get the flag. No flag, and a big stand by the Duke defense.
Only 5 third-quarter yards for the Jackets. TJ Ramming on the punt return cannot get away from the Jackets. Boy, Georgia Tech got down the field in a heartbeat. Jalen Askew, a freshman from McEachern High School outside of Atlanta, was right there to lead the punt cover unit. There's Derek Jones coaching those guys in the secondary. First throw is Lloyd on the backside, and Lawrence Austin will push him down at the 39.
Good job by that offensive line up front. Plenty of time. Daniel Jones able to stay comfortable. Boy, as he looked smooth and poised in this second half. He took a little bit of a tongue lashing there late in the first half when they had to settle for a field goal. And by Coach David Cutcliffe, he's been sharp, and the offensive line taking care of him there.
And there goes Wilson to the perimeter. And A.J. Gray the stop on a first down for Duke. James, we've seen A.J. Gray, or Sean Wilson for 4 years, and once he gets to the edge, the volume just gets turned up, it seems.
Well, it really has, and you know what's interesting is I think Britton is more of the same. So there's a whole lot more for Duke where that's come from. It just may be by a different number. 29s look good. Here they go empty.
And Jones going to keep it here. And Daniel Jones will plow to the 48.5. Bruce Jordan Swilling and Brant Mitchell, 2 linebackers on the stop there.
Here you see the third-quarter yardage. I mean, I'd like to see time of possession in this second half as well. It was dominated by Georgia Tech in the first half, but beating them really in so many ways at their own game, this Duke offense has been, as we near the fourth quarter.
2:40 to go. Jones wants to throw. Going to take the shot for Lloyd, and comes up with it. What a catch by Jonathan Lloyd.
Wow. Wow. Again, time for the big man to get comfortable, and showing you why Coach David Cutcliffe was giddy about the future of his quarterback early this season. How about him drop this one in there, but showing you why? I mean, you take the highlight tape of the way Jones has run this second half. You know, it'll have defensive coordinators across the ACC thinking, oh my goodness, he's just a sophomore.
In fact, 2 tight ends in the situation here, and they hand this as Jones going to keep it far side after the fake to Brown. Boy, he takes a lot of punishment too, James. That's a hard 5-yard run for Big Daniel Jones.
Well, it certainly is, and it goes back to Rebecca's point. I mean, it's the sacks as well. It's not just when he's asked to tuck it and run and taking the hits down the field. It's been kind of rough, but looking pretty good right now.
10 in a row for the Blue Devils here in the third. They dominate time of possession and yardage. They go to the fourth with a 30-20 lead. Well, we go to our Ace Hardware game summary, James, and look at the third quarter. Plays, yards, and time of possession.
Well, and if you watch the first quarter and flip the TV off, this would blow you away. I mean, look at that. My goodness, third quarter yards, 198-5. Georgia Tech has had 2 3-and-outs.
Yep.
Duke will start the fourth quarter with the football and trying to add to this 10-point lead.
Second down, Jones to keep it. And close to another first down at the 5 is Daniel Jones. A.J. Gray's injury has brought, the injury in the secondary to Corey Griffin has brought Sean Kagawa off the Georgia Tech bench, and he made the play on Daniel Jones there.
A play that's similar to Paul Johnson's quarterback follow. Using that block as the fullback, if you will, in the old school I formation, just going behind that back as a blocker.
11th play of the drive, and the handoff inside, and not much there for Britton Brown. Maybe a step to the 4. We're underway in the 4th period. Desmond Branch the stop here.
Well, it tightens up obviously down here near the goal line, and bodies continue to bang. There's Gray always sticking his nose in it. Big physical safety. Can they figure out a way to stuff him, hold him to a field goal? Obviously, a touchdown really hurts him in the grand scheme of things. Field goal still within 2 scores.
Little jump pass caught. Sean Wilson throws a touchdown to Daniel Helm. The 12th play of the drive is Sean Wilson. Jump pass to Daniel Helm.
Wilson's done it all. He's danced, he's caught balls, he's run for touchdowns, and here he is, a nice little touch pass. I mean, how many times have we seen that now? It's the old Urban Meyer call that he used to have Tebow, and here's a missed extra point. And so it'll be a 16-point lead instead of 17. But remember how Tebow used to do this, and then a lot of others took suit, just a little jump pass. Looked like he's right up the hill there.
Yep.
And Cameron.
No return for Jerry Howard on the kick. Georgia Tech will scrimmage off its 25. And then Georgia in the top 10 of the college football playoff in the regular season finale next week. And on first down, the Jackets just punch a yard with Kervonte Benson, who, by the way, has gone over 1,000 yards today. So has Taquan Marshall. And they become just the second pair of teammates to rush for 1,000 or more in the same season, James. The only other time, 2009, Joshua Nesbitt, the quarterback, and Jonathan Dwyer, the B-back. Then the year Georgia Tech went to the ACC title and the Orange Bowl. Second down. Marshall on the drop. Going to shoot it deep for Brad Stewart, and overthrown.
He had the inside edge. Stewart was the guy, and he just couldn't run underneath it. Just not enough air. But he had the advantage with the body position. Couldn't connect. There's another big 3rd down and 9. It's just really, Wes, really interesting the way this Duke defense has responded here in the second half, when they absolutely couldn't get off the field, and they could not put a stop to what Tech was doing to them in the first half. There's another big opportunity for the guys in blue.
June and Stewart are the receivers for Marshall.
Two down linemen here, and nobody down on this side.
Here's Marshall eluding the rush. Gets here to the near side. He'll go out of bounds after a yard to the 32. Mike Ramsey and Trey Hornbuckle, or Demukeji, were there. And Hornbuckle, I guess, as well for Duke. Great pursuit by Jim Knowles' club.
Yeah, really an interesting setup. There were only 2 down linemen, and they were both on the right side of that defensive line. They come with bodies on the right, and immediately Marshall has to go and run. And, you know, as this clock continues to tick away, Georgia Tech with the fake punt last week, but going to do the same right here.
Yep, trying to get it to Camp, and there'll be pass interference on Duke. Chris Taylor, I think, was the guy defending Jalen Camp. Now, there'll be some conversation about, was it a catchable ball?
You know, the mindset with...
There is no foul for pass. By rule, on 4th down, any pass, this makes a punt, there cannot be pass interference. Therefore, we have an incomplete pass. First down.
So Paul Johnson frustrated.
Well, here you go, and it's... I thought maybe it was going to be an uncatchable ball, that, and without a doubt, pass interference, and I don't think that you could call it an uncatchable ball, and that's... There's your all-22, and he put it out there for him. There's a nice little throw by Harvin, successful to Sean Freeman last week against Virginia Tech. And I got to be honest, that's that fakes a punt. Was that the wording on it?
Yeah. Here's Daniel Jones on the keeper, and the big fella is going to score. Touchdown for Jones. 32-yard run for Daniel Jones.
This is almost like a sudden change. You know, you get a sudden change, the defense gets out there when they don't expect it, and they give up the big hitter. It's kind of similar. After the fake punt, they thought they had a flag, come running out, and Daniel Jones showing off the wheels in the open field one more time. And it has been nothing but Blue Devil football in this second half. Got a little bit of momentum going into the halftime locker room, and it's been a great big tsunami of momentum for the Blue Devils in the second half.
James, the Blue Devils had gone 7 straight games without reaching 400 yards of offense. Today, they have crossed that mark and then some.
They reached it in the first 3 games. They reached 400 plus, and 457 right now with 8:35 left in the game.
Jerry Howard tripped up as he got to the 21.
Last week, Wake Forest was down in the Carrier Dome, down early and down big, and got a little bit of momentum there before the halftime. And what came back out, got the kickoff of this, received the kickoff in the second half, and just put it on them. It was very similar to what Duke's done here today.
Marshall works out of the pocket, now going to set load. June cannot hang on. There's a flag, and that'll be for an eligible man downfield.
An eligible receiver downfield. Offense, number 75. Penalties decline. Second down.
So it was Parker Braun, who was also flagged as well. Could have had your pick on the way that one looked.
And these offensive linemen, you know, these plays take so long to develop. Eventually, you know, you've got a quarterback that so many times, if nothing's there for him, he's going to tuck it and go, trying to help him out. But with the ball thrown, a couple guys getting flagged, and 7:15 left now, and a second down and 10 for this offense.
Pressure coming from the backside. Taquan going to keep it for the Jackets and cannot spin away from the last edge pressure of Terrell Lucas, the defensive end. So it'll be third down at the 28, and the clock under 7 minutes to go now at Wallace Wade Stadium. Duke with a win would go to 5-6, and they would go all in, James, next Saturday in Winston-Salem.
We'll be there too.
Yep, 12:30 start with Wake Forest.
Well, Dave Clawson said to Rebecca in his post-game interview last week in the Carrier Dome, she asked him about being bowl eligible. And he said he just wanted to win the rest of them. That's all he cared about.
Overthrown for Searcy on third down.
You know, and they've got a tough one tonight.
The NC State Wake Forest will be worth your money, won't it?
It will be.
Ooh.
So we'll have to kick here in a little bit. Gonna have to check that one out.
What do you think the Deacons have found, James? What is it? Offensively, some tempo. That's one, right?
Well, again, I mean, and we've known this for quite some time. John Walford. I mean, it's you could build any team around him. I mean, Dave Clawson goes in there and probably didn't realize, and I think that they would admit, Warren Ruggiero, his offensive coordinator, that, you know, tried to get Kendall Hinton to be the guy. But it's like, here's your guy. Here's the residual effect of John Walford's going to be there for quite some time.
Yep.
And he's a senior right now, and the sophomore Daniel Jones has quite a future here at Duke and turning it around the second half today.
Yep, Quentin Harris now, redshirt sophomore. Wilton, Connecticut, 7 of 10 passing for 73 yards in his 8 appearances. And the handoff on first down. That's Sean Wilson before T.D. Roof makes the tackle. And there is the numbers on young Mr. Harris. And he gets the ball with just ahead of 6 minutes to go.
Ongoing theme here, the twins. T.D. Roof is a twin, the son of Ted Roof, the defensive coordinator.
Right.
Rebecca did the story on the twins that both play for Georgia Tech on the defensive side here earlier, but Rebecca also has twins.
Right.
You, Wes, have twins.
Yes.
Man, making us feel left out up here. The twin party. Those are offsides.
No flag. And Deion Jackson has come in the ball game. Freshman from Pace Academy in Atlanta.
Is Pace Academy, what is the academy in Atlanta that Jimmy Carter went to? Do you know off the top of your head? Sorry to just kind of throw that. If I'm not mistaken, there's an academy. Never mind. Forget I asked. There were a couple kids that why I asked at Air Force a couple years ago. That,
Woodward Academy.
That's it. That's
Woodward
what it is.
Academy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
See, I knew I could throw you a curveball. You're a curveball hitter, Wes Durham.
Yeah. Well, there's Pace Academy, Woodward Academy. There are a few others, I guess, but here is Harris trying to sneak for the 3rd and short, and I think he'll have it to the Blue Devil 40, under 5 to go now. Well, we told you, let me outline Georgia Tech's predicament here. We know that Georgia, number 7 in the playoff poll this week, and the Jackets, they'll play clean old-fashioned hate next Saturday at Grant Field in Atlanta. And now, James, here's the interesting part. Georgia Tech, like Florida State, only 11 regular season games. Now, Florida State, as we know, last week signed to play Louisiana Monroe on December the 2nd. They're going to play the same day of the ACC championship game. Parker Boehm has come in at quarterback for the Blue Devils. Now, Georgia Tech tried to get a game scheduled in October to create a 12th game on a bye week. It did not work out. Now, whether Director of Athletics Todd Stansberry, head coach Paul Johnson, they're going to try and rekindle those talks. I think we're going to see in the next week or so some teams that lost a regular season game because of the natural disaster in the hurricane maybe try and add that 12th game if they want to be bowl eligible, perhaps.
Florida Gators.
Here's Parker Boehm on the keeper. And down the near sideline, took a big shot out of bounds at the 27-yard line with 2:01 to go.
The way he lowered that hat, man, that's it's a good thing a quarterback can't get flagged for head-to-head contact. Boom. Lowering the shoulder.
21-yard run. Pierre is the running back. And 95 seconds left. And here's the young man from Miami. And Freeman the stop. They were excited about this youngster early in the year, and the play of Brown and Wilson has been as such, and Deion Jackson, that Pierre's had some limited touches after their big win early in the year over Central and then Northwestern. We saw him in Game 3 when they beat Baylor. You know, it's an interesting football team Duke has, because there'll be some moments that we'll see two really good quarterbacks next Saturday, won't we?
We will.
Oh boy!
In two different styles.
Yeah.
When we thought we'd get Dungy and Walford, it was very similar in the way that they go about it. And two different styles, and it should be one heck of a game. And for Georgia Tech, they got to go take down the rivals. They get them in Atlanta, those Georgia Bulldogs. But that's what they need to do. That's what they're looking at for win number 6.
Yep.
Next weekend. Sean Wilson put everything he had into his senior day here. He and the other 20 seniors that were honored before this game by Coach David Cutcliffe in Duke football.
And that'll do it. Duke snaps the 6-game skid. They go to 5-6. The Blue Devils have now won 3 of the last 4 against Georgia Tech. And Paul Johnson and David Cutcliffe, a handshake, both in their 10th seasons. And the Blue Devils come away with a 43-20 win today over Georgia Tech. Pyrotechnics at Wallace Wade. Well, David Cutcliffe and the Blue Devils will have a chance next Saturday in Winston-Salem to reach bowl eligibility after the victory today over Georgia Tech. And he is downstairs with Rebecca.
Coach, you told me at halftime you were looking for your offense to make some explosive plays. Okay, they did that. You also said you want to see some stops on defense. Georgia Tech didn't get on the board in the second half. Your team responded.
It was as good a team effort the second half. We were really good in the kicking game, but our defense, just to hold them to a goose egg and get off the field, force punts, and then offensively we kept the football. So it can't get much better than that. Proud of them.
You said the only way to get to 6 wins is to get to number 5 first. You're at number 5. How good does that feel?
It feels terrific, and we got a huge opponent in front of us, but right now that doesn't matter. It's all about us and what we've got to do moving forward, and it's for these seniors. They have been tremendous here, and our coaches are special people. We're going to keep pushing this thing forward.
On senior night here, how about the play of your senior, Sean Wilson?
He's a terrific athlete, and he opened the game right, did he not? And, you know, he's a fierce competitor. He had the one little slip in the end zone that won't happen again, but emotion sometimes gets the better of you.
I was wondering if he was going to start the next game at quarterback.
He can. That's a tremendous play, and he's got that savvy, and he had to kind of find the receiver in that crowd, and he did a great job with it.
So you do have Wake Forest next week. It is another must-win. Your team responded today. What will your message be this week going into that big game?
Have a great Sunday. We have to have a great Saturday night before we can have a great Sunday. This team has prepared well. We haven't played as well as we would like until the second half tonight. It's all about preparing one day at a time.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks to David Cutcliffe. Congratulations on the win. Well, on to Winston-Salem for David Cutcliffe's team. Chance to gain bowl eligibility against rival Wake Forest.